to the historic Sanofi Toronto campus and grand opening of Building 100. I'm Carrie McElroy, and I head Market Access and Public Affairs, and I'll be your MC today. But first, Sanofi would like to acknowledge that North York is covered by Treaty 13 and is the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, Haudenosaunee, and most recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit River. On behalf of Sanofi, I'd like to express our deepest gratitude to government guests today for their unwavering support and commitment to public health. We are privileged to have your esteemed presence. The Right Honourable Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, Honourable Yara Sachs, Minister of Mental Health and Addictions and Associate Minister of Health, Honourable Sylvia Jones, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Health, Honourable Vic Fideli, Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, Ontario, Honourable Michael Kirstner, Solicitor General and MP for York Centre, Honourable Nina Tangri, Associate Minister for Small Business, Natalia Kusendova, Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister for Seniors, Accessibility, and Minister of Long-Term Care. Her Worship Olivia Chow, Mayor of Toronto, Councillor James Pasternak. I'd also like to acknowledge Bertrand Chapuz, Consul General of France, Trevor Dalfini from Invest Ontario, and Dean Steiny Brown from the University of Toronto. Thank you all for joining this event. There will be an opportunity to ask questions following remarks today. And now on to our celebration. I invite Stephanie Veyron-Manetti, our Country Lead for Canada and General Manager of our Specialty Care business, to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. Bonjour à tous. Distinguished guests, it is with great honor and privilege that we gather here today to celebrate the grand opening of our new advanced manufacturing facility and our 110th anniversary of our heritage in Canada. On behalf of our 2,000 Canadian employees, welcome to the Sanofi Toronto campus. Bienvenue à toutes et à tous, c'est plus facile. Nous sommes très honorés et fiers de vous accueillir sur notre campus. This campus you are on today is unique in the Sanofi ecosystem and in our industry. This is one of the rare, if not the only site, regrouping this large manufacturing, supply, and commercial operation. Sanofi also operates a global artificial intelligence center of excellence from downtown Toronto, where we have recruited many talented people from Canadian universities. As global healthcare leader dedicated to improving people's lives, we aim to become a leading company in immunology and positively impact millions of patients. We are leader in prevention by protecting 500 million people worldwide every year with our portfolio of vaccine and by leveraging our broad set of technology and manufacturing platform as you see and hear today. Here in Canada, Sanofi has dedicated numerous investments in collaboration with the federal, provincial, and municipal government. By 2027, Sanofi will have delivered $2 billion investment in the new facility and infrastructure here at this campus, spanning over the last decade. As Canada's top R&D investor. Additionally, we are conducting here in the country 84 clinical trials, allowing us to be more inclusive for Canadian patients. With this investment, Sanofi demonstrates its ongoing commitment to leadership in the life science and biomanufacturing sector, including collaboration to ensure patients have timely access to new medicine and vaccine. Canada has always been a strong part of Sanofi global strategy, and today's celebration demonstrates the innovation we can continue to bring all together in Canada in the year to come. Thank you all for joining us in this momentous occasion. And now I would like to welcome on stage our dear Toronto campus site head, Mathieu Puyer.
The manufacturing, supply, and Toronto site head, it's a huge pleasure for me to welcome you here today.
The vaccine we manufacture here are used for routine, pediatric, adolescent, and adult immunization in Canada, as well in over 60 countries around the world. Developing and producing a vaccine is an important responsibility because we immunize healthy people to protect them throughout their lifetime. In 2019, in collaboration with the federal, with the provincial and the municipal government, we announced the investment of this beautiful facility, a future lighthouse in innovation and advanced digital capabilities. It was at the time the manufacture essential vaccines. Our facility is an integrated smart factory driven by our vision of the digital transformation. We are cutting edge by leveraging automation, data-driven decision, and the first time in the Sanofi network, we use AI to enable real-time process monitoring. In 2021, Sanofi announced a $925 million investment with collaboration again with federal, with provincial, and the municipal government. Once again, the largest investment in the life science in Canada at the time for the construction of every stage of life for Canadians and people worldwide. Together, we are not just preparing for the future, we are shaping it. It's now for me a pleasure to invite Thomas Grenier on stage. Thomas is our head of Vaccine North America, representing our global organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Mathieu. Bonjour. This huge celebration today. For Sanofi, this event marks the opening of facilities across Sanofi's manufacturing and supply network. We are very proud of the impact our investment has for the people in this country. In fact, 2 out of 3 individuals in Canada are protected against pertussis thanks to vaccines coming from this site. I want to reinforce how important Canada is for Sanofi globally from an investment perspective. Here you have 110 years of heritage alongside future innovation, making investment a key focus for Sanofi. Today's opening of this remarkable pediatrics and adult vaccines manufacturing facility marks an essential step in our innovation strategy. Soon, in 2027, as Mathieu mentioned, we will open our new flu vaccine and pandemic preparedness facility on this site. From this new building, we will be producing a collaboration. Finally, I want to share why accelerating innovation is so essential. First, Sanofi's strategy is to become a leader in immunology globally. Second, we are investing now in R&D to bring 12 potential breakthrough medicines and vaccines in the coming years. And third, manufacturing and supply teams across the globe and tools from this site are drawing on advances in artificial intelligence, digitalization and new technologies to help us accelerate the time from discovery of innovative medicines and vaccines to their availability to people and patients. Our teams are improving daily performance and they are committed to quality across operations, enabling us to reliably launch and supply more than 4 billion doses of medicine and vaccines every year to help people around the world to live better, healthier, longer lives. Thank you very much. And please, Stephanie.
Thank you, Thomas. And now it's my pleasure to welcome on stage the Right Honourable Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada.
Merci Thomas de nous accueillir ici avec les collègues de chez Sanofi, Carrie, Delphi, Stéphanie et Mathieu. Je suis très heureux d'être accompagné aujourd'hui par la ministre Sachs de notre gouvernement. Premier Ford, Ministers Jones and Fideli and other members of your team, Mayor Chow, Olivia, good to see you today. It's great to see so many people from here in Toronto together to celebrate this important milestone. But before I begin, I want to acknowledge that just a short drive away, parents dropped off their daughters this morning at a Jewish girls' elementary school that was shot at over the weekend. And in Montreal, another Jewish school was targeted by an overnight shooting last night. I was, of course, relieved that no one was hurt, but I'm disgusted by these vile and despicable acts of anti-Semitism. It needs to stop now. The Jewish parents and students across the country, we stand with you. We will always work to safeguard your right to live proudly Jewish lives in Canada. We're, of course, working with local law enforcement and will utilize all available federal resources to ensure that the perpetrators are held to account. We cannot and will not let this anti-Semitism stand in Canada. Merci à class and people working hard to join it. A future with a clear plan to keep people safe and healthy. During the pandemic, we promised that we would rebuild our capacity to produce life-saving vaccines here in Canada. This is important to protect our health and to protect ourselves against future pandemics. We've been hard at work with strategic investments and we've been delivering results. Today is another major step in the right direction. Here in Toronto, Sanofi is opening a new pediatric and adult vaccine manufacturing facility. And it will create and maintain hundreds of high-skilled jobs.
Aujourd'hui, on est ici à Toronto pour inaugurer l'ouverture de la nouvelle installation de Sanofi, une des usines de fabrication de vaccins les plus avancées du monde.
Discovered here in Canada, just down the road at the University of Toronto. And it was therefore at this site here, where we are today, then Connaught Laboratories, that insulin was first mass-produced for Canada and beyond. Recently, our government launched the first phase of a national pharmacare plan that includes making insulin free for Canadians. This is real positive change that will improve people's health. We're investing in pharmacare and healthcare while making sure our researchers and scientists have the tools they need to make these groundbreaking discoveries. Here in Toronto, Sanofi will expand its production of vaccines for diseases such as tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis. This is significant. For example, we know that pertussis, what most of us know as whooping cough, kills approximately 400,000 people around the world every year. These are preventable deaths, so the vaccines produced right here will save lives right around the world. En plus de la nouvelle installation dans laquelle on se trouve aujourd'hui, on a aussi investi pour aider Sanofi à Toronto sur ce site. Une fois opérationnelle, la deuxième usine va être capable de produire assez de doses de vaccins contre l'influenza pour tous les Canadiens en seulement 6 mois après avoir identifié une souche de grippe, en plus d'être là pour réagir à des pandémies potentielles dans notre avenir. So today is another big step towards a healthier and stronger future. We're making sure we're better prepared for health emergencies, better protected against outbreaks, and better placed to get vaccines to Canadians faster. L'annonce d'aujourd'hui est une excellente nouvelle pour nos étudiants, nos chercheurs et nos scientifiques qui veulent bâtir des carrières ici, chez nous. Investing in science, creating jobs, and keeping Canadians healthy. This is what fairness for every generation looks like. It's what we're going to stay focused on. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you, Prime Minister. And, you know, before I get started, I'm going to concur with what the Prime Minister said about the shooting at the school, Jewish school down the street. You know, what's our community going now? Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Along with the Prime Minister and the federal government, the province will throw every single resource to catch these, I don't even want to call them people, and throw them in jail, throw away the key. And this has to stop. It's just out of control. Growing up here our whole lives, everyone in this room, we've never seen anything like this before. And this has to stop. All the nonsense at U of T and everywhere being attacked like they have been. It's great to be here today alongside Ministers Jones, Fideli, Kersner, and Tangri, and MPP Laura Smith. Before I get started, I want to acknowledge the Consul General, Prime Minister, Minister Sachs, and Councillor Pasternak that I sat with for 4 years down at the city, and my champion, Mayor Chow, and going a little off script, but thank you for what you did for Rob and naming the stadium after him. We'll be forever grateful. And a big thank you to Stephanie, Mathieu, Delphine, and Thomas, and the entire team at Sanofi for hosting us today, and for our tour of this amazing facility. Folks, what they're doing here, they're blazing new trails every single day, and it's greatly appreciated. Sanofi has been a major player in the province's pharmaceutical industry, today to celebrate the official opening of this building, the largest biomanufacturing facility in the entire country. This $800 million investment to expand Sanofi's footprint here in Ontario is a major vote of confidence in our province and our workers. This new facility is going to employ more than 200 workers and significantly increase the country's production of vaccines, helping to secure our domestic supply chains and ensure people across the country can get life-saving shots when they need them. It's a tremendous win for Ontario, it's a tremendous win for the country, for our workers, and the Ontario government was pleased to support this project with a $50 million investment. My friends, the pharmaceutical sector is such an important as a roadmap to establish Ontario as a global biomanufacturing and life sciences hub. We want Ontario to be a place where medical breakthroughs are discovered and developed into innovative products and services for the benefit of everyone. And over the past 3 years, Ontario has attracted more than $3 billion in new investments into the sector from both domestic and international companies. This includes Omnia Bio $580 million investment for a new cell and gene therapy manufacturing facility being built in Hamilton, Moderna's and Novacol's partnership to prepare a package of mRNA vaccines in Cambridge, and a large investment from AstraZeneca to build another facility on this campus to meet the growing demand for flu vaccines. Do you notice I'm wearing my purple Sanofi tie today? International companies are choosing Ontario, and companies already here are expanding because of our world-class colleges and universities and our highly skilled workforce. I always say, folks, every single year we graduate over 70,000 STEM graduates. That's higher than any jurisdiction in all of North America. They're investing in Ontario because our government has created the environment and the conditions for companies to thrive, prosper, and grow. We have cut red tape by over $1 billion. We've reduced the cost of electricity between 15 and 17%, and we've kept taxes and fees low. In fact, since we came into office 6 years ago, raised a tax on businesses or people. Instead, we've reduced the cost of burden on businesses by $8 billion each and every single year. And folks, here in Ontario, we're going to keep working hard to create an environment where jobs can grow and companies like Sanofi can succeed. Once again, I want to thank you for having us by. Your whole team at Sanofi has been tremendous, and I appreciate the confidence you have in the people of Ontario. And thank you for inviting me today, and may God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'd like to introduce Minister Sachs. Thank you.
Thank you. It's me and the DPM. Bonjour à tous. Hello, everyone. It's Premier that in the early days, my first project as an MP was the influenza facility that will be built here by 2027. And in the middle of a pandemic, to know that we work with colleagues of all levels of government on the things that matter most in keeping our citizens across this country and here in Ontario healthy and safe each and every day. It's wonderful to be back here with the Sanofi family and so many incredible colleagues. Prime Minister, thank you. As a Jewish member of Parliament of this community, I want to say that allies matter. And this government, our federal government, and also the province of Ontario, thank you, Premier, for your words. As a Jewish mother in this community, we have the right to be safe each and every day. We've all chosen to make Canada home and to build our lives here with values of family and community, to celebrate our faith and to do it together. Diversity in this country is a choice, but it's also, the inclusion is a choice. And to know that we have leadership that will stand strong against hate and anti-Semitism, and hate in all of its forms matters now more than ever. I'm so thrilled to be here to mark the opening of today's new B100 facility, because we're marking an exciting milestone, the creation of a large biomanufacturing facility right here in Canada and in this riding in York Centre, no less. And it's really such wonderful news for all Canadians. And as the Prime Minister mentioned, this is the home of where insulin began. 110 years was marked just recently last month. And as C64 moves through the legislative process, we are a government that is fully committed to the health of Canadians. And the choice was obvious of where we start in providing pharmacare. Insulin for those who struggle with diabetes and contraception. And we are so fortunate in Canada to have high rates of vaccination because of facilities like this. It helps prevent the spread of many serious and life-threatening diseases. And we know that, in fact, many of the diseases we vaccinate against are now rare in Canada. But we must continue to keep our vaccination rates high. The opening of this facility will help ensure we are able to meet the growing demand for vaccines from coast to coast to coast. This facility will have here in Toronto. Sanofi has been an institution in this community for just over a century, and this new facility and an initial investment of $570 million, the company's contribution to the city is growing each and every day. B100 will be a site of ongoing investment and innovation with positive impacts for the surrounding community. The new facility will mean about 200 jobs for people in production, quality, and the trades. These are highly technical jobs that will enrich Toronto's job market, and we have the people right here. There will be other indirect employment opportunities in support of B100 projects, and I'm really excited to see what comes next. But most importantly, the 100 million plus doses of vaccines that will be produced here will help protect people against preventable diseases here in Canada and around the world. With the resurgence of infectious, we absolutely need to develop and produce more vaccines here in Canada. In strengthening Canada's vaccine supply, we can better help protect our loved ones, our families, our communities, and the most vulnerable among us. Vaccination is a cornerstone of public health and is responsible for saving more lives in the past 50 years in Canada than any other health intervention. It is thanks to high rates of vaccination that we can prevent the spread and outbreak of serious and life-threatening infectious diseases. Our government is supporting biomedical advancements and investing in our health system as a whole. As we know, vaccines save lives. With that, I would like now to turn it over to Deputy Premier and the Minister of Health of Ontario and my colleague Sylvia Jones to speak a bit more about the impact of this facility. Thank you and merci.
Indeed, my pleasure to be here today alongside Premier Ford, Minister Fedeli, and many other colleagues. The grand opening event of Sanofi's new bulk biologics manufacturing facility right here in Toronto. I want to thank the entire team at Sanofi for hosting us, and I want to congratulate everyone involved in this project for their pivotal role in expanding access to vaccines and life-changing treatment for people across the province and indeed across the world. It was great to join your team last summer to see some of the research and development happening right here in Ontario. And I am excited to join you again to celebrate this milestone for vaccine manufacturing in Ontario and in Canada. Under the leadership of Premier Ford, Ontario has become a hub of healthcare technology and innovation. Today's announcement is just the next step in our government's work to rebuild Ontario's biomanufacturing sector. Sanofi's new state-of-the-art vaccine manufacturing facility in Toronto is championing made in Ontario products and services and ensuring that Ontarians can access the safe and high-quality vaccines they know and they need, building healthier communities across our province and around the world for years to come. Thank you again for everyone who has worked towards this historic day. Our government will continue to invest in strengthening our world-class pharmaceutical sector to ensure we are prepared for future public health events with a strong and steady supply of vaccines for all Ontarians and Canadians, no matter where they live. It's now my pleasure to turn it over to Minister Fedeli to say a few words. Stay well, everyone.
Mr. Jones, it's great to be here today. Prime Minister, Premier Ford, fellow elected colleagues, and thank you to Stephanie, Mathieu, Thomas, the whole team. It's great to see all of you here again. And it's great to be back at Sanofi, this time to celebrate the opening of the largest vaccine manufacturing facility in Canada, in case you hadn't heard that 3 or 4 or 5 times today. Look, the last time we all came together, Prime Minister and Premier, was at this incredible campus, was to announce Sanofi's investment in their state-of-the-art B200 flu vaccine facility. We know that Sanofi has a long heritage in Ontario. We know this as the birthplace, I call it, of insulin. But since then, you've continued to be life sciences sector. You've invested over $2 billion in biomanufacturing expansion, and in the last decade alone, you've invested over $1.2 billion in R&D, developing innovative therapies for infectious disease, as well as immunology, cancer, diabetes, and multiple sclerosis. Ontario is a life sciences superpower with a proud history of cutting-edge innovation and discovery in the life sciences, including, as we said, the discovery of insulin. We've developed the first cardiac pacemaker in Ontario. We detected the gene that causes cystic fibrosis, and we use stem cells now to cure diseases. We want to ensure that Ontario remains at the forefront of life sciences innovation and a global leader in the sector. As Premier Ford spoke about earlier, in North America. Its ambitious goals include growing our employment sector to 85,000 workers, and to date we've added 4,800 new jobs in that sector. We want to double our venture capital investment in Ontario life sciences sector to $725 million a year by 2030. And seeing the growth that's taking place right here at Sanofi, there's no reason why we can't achieve those lofty targets, and we hope to do some of that together. To help us inform our Phase 2 of the strategy will be released very near in the future. We've been working together with industry leaders, many of you in this room, including the experts on our Life Sciences Council. So last month we were in Ontario is the best place to invest and grow. So I want to say thank you to everybody at Sanofi again for having us here, and the deepest of congratulations to you and much success to you in the future. Thank you. And now I want to invite Mayor Olivia Chow to come and speak.
Prime Minister, Premier, ministers, and all the good people here at Sanofi. I'm here joined by your local councillor, James Pasternak. I know he's here somewhere. Who did all the heavy lifting, getting the zoning, good work. Congratulations. This is a great milestone to open this facilities. It is the largest biomanufacturing facility in Canadian history, right here in Toronto. That investment of $800 million to produce cutting-edge vaccines and medicines for people around the world, including my dad that has diabetes. You save lives by eliminating childhood illness and preparing our country for the next pandemic, so we're ready to fight back and keep people safe and healthy. This investment represents a vote of confidence in Toronto, in Canada, a vote of and diverse workforce. And they all speak different languages too, to boost, yeah? A vote of confidence of the business climate we have created and the high quality of life we have right here in Toronto. This announcement today will further solidify Toronto's place as a home for forward-thinking research and manufacturing of pharmaceuticals. A place where the brightest minds from all over the world come here to help develop the next generation of vaccines to save lives around the world. And Toronto's diversity of talents is unmatched. And yes, they come here, people from around the world bring them their skills, their expertise, and their experiences. They attend the world-class colleges and universities located right here. We all from today's announcement. Sanofi has a long history in our city. That history started 110 years ago in a small lab in Connect Laboratories at University of Toronto, right? Now Sanofi employed over 2,000 people across the country and export vaccines that were made here in Toronto to more than 60 countries. You make us proud. That's Canadian expertise and ingenuity saving lives here in Canada and around the world. And our long history together continues today with these new facilities. In just 3 years, 2027. Congratulations.
Thank you all for joining us today. I'll ask now for our speakers to join on stage, and I'll call for Jenna, who will direct the press.
Media availability. For media, we've got 20 minutes of questions, one question, one follow-up per outlet. Just wait a second.
You and me here.
First question goes to the Globe and Mail.
Hi, it's for the Prime Minister. Good morning. For more than a year now, you've defended your government's response to the
We have actually shared more cabinet confidences than any previous government in history because it is so important that the various inquiries and justices are able to do their work, to demonstrate the work that is being done and what needs to continue to be done in countering foreign interference. We know that despite foreign interference having happened and attempts at foreign interference ongoing over the past many years, not just in our politics, but in our businesses, in our research facilities, and in communities across the country, the results of the elections in 2019 and 2021 were decided by Canadians. It is important that we continue to work with the intelligence community and the oversight measures that help Canadians and keep our democracies and our communities safe.
Well, last year, though, your public safety minister said the inquiry would have access to all relevant cabinet documents. And the information we have is you've broken that promise. Why?
That is incorrect. We actually delivered the 4 relevant MCs to memorandums to cabinet to the inquiries, as we did to the special rapporteur, demonstrating and sharing information that had only happened, I think, 4 times in hundreds of inquiries across the country. We've demonstrated that one of the most important things around foreign interference is ensuring that Canadians can have confidence in the work of our public security and intelligence agencies, and that is why we have demonstrated unprecedented transparency. On top of these inquiries, we also Conservative governments refused to do, which was to create a National Security and Intelligence Committee of parliamentarians, made by parliamentarians from all parties, who would have the security clearances necessary to be able to look into everything our national security agencies have done. This was a step that many other countries had taken, but the previous Conservative government categorically refused to do. Because of that, we now have a robust system of oversight by parliamentarians. This is something that we've delivered on top of a revamped NCIRA, which just put out an important report, as well as many other things from the G7 Rapid Response Mechanism that we created in 2018 to the site election integrity panel and organization within our national security agencies. We have done more than any previous government to agencies and bodies, and not just to protect Canada and its democracy from foreign interference, but to demonstrate the transparency and openness that is necessary for people to be confident that Canada is doing everything to keep them and their institutions safe.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi, Barbara with Queen's Park Briefing. Question for the Premier. Khalid Rashid left the PC caucus after his sibling gave false information while under oath to the Integrity Commissioner, and he hasn't been allowed to return to caucus until the Commissioner clears his name. So now your Chief of Staff, Patrick Sackville, is facing similar allegations but didn't face any consequences yet. So my question is, why shouldn't Mr. Sackville do what Mr. Rashid has done and leave his position until his name is cleared? Thank you.
Well, first of all, with Khalid Rashid, he has to wait for the investigation to move forward. And that was on the private side, was also on the public government side. So they have access to anything they want.
Next question. Liberal MPP at the OSMG proposed a bill yesterday to ban private pay nurse clinics. Last month, Minister Jones even wrote a letter to the Federal Minister of Health asking him to close the loophole that allows these clinics to operate, which is the same thing Shim's bill is proposing today. So will the government support his bill?
I'm going to pass that over to the Minister.
Thank you. Now, we've been very focused on expanding primary care in the province of Ontario. In February, we announced 78 new primary care multidisciplinary teams, and there are a number of nurse practitioner-led clinics in that expansion. I want to ensure that people who have access to an OHIP card are using that for OHIP-covered services. So I'll continue to work with the federal government, but I don't want to punish people. I want to make sure that nurse practitioners have opportunities within our hospital system, within our multidisciplinary teams, within our community health care centers, and that's the focus that we have, expanding access, not punishing. Thank you.
Next question.
Good morning, Sammy Hudis with the Canadian Press. Prime Minister, are you uncomfortable that France has invited Russian officials to the D-Day commemoration next week, and what message will you bring to any of these representatives?
Well, I think our message for Russia has been consistent and clear. They must retreat from Ukraine, respect internationally established borders. The violation of the UN Charter, the international rules-based order by Russia in invading a neighboring sovereign country has impacts not just on a map can be redrawn by a neighbor with a larger army, then the period of stability that we have known since the end of World War II would come to an end, and the prosperity and opportunity available not just to people in Western democracies but all around the world would be at risk. That is why we are in such deep disagreement with the Putin regime and the actions of the government of Russia. As we commemorate the victory over fascism and Nazism in World War II, it's important to recognize all the countries that were involved, but that does not preclude our extreme disagreement with the endangering of people around the Russian regime is involved in.
En français.
Okay. Nous sommes extrêmement en désaccord avec le régime russe qui a choisi d'envahir l'Ukraine, non seulement mettant à risque les Ukrainiens et leur société, mais aussi mettant à risque la règle internationale fondée sur le droit qui nous protège depuis des décennies partout à travers le monde et a mené à une prospérité inégalée dans l'histoire de l'humanité. Nous allons donc continuer de souligner notre désaccord et notre désaccord avec la Russie et le régime actuel, même pendant que nous reconnaissons le travail que nous avons tous fait ensemble en tant qu'alliés pour lutter contre le nazisme et pour libérer
resources at your disposal to help protect Jewish communities right now. Can you tell us beyond words, what resources are we talking about? We know that politicians aren't supposed to direct the police. Are we talking about bubble zones to protect community centers, religious institutions? Like what concrete steps is going to happen from each of your governments?
Well, first of all, the significant step that we took a number of years ago was to create the security infrastructure program that has led to places of worship of all types, of community centers, of religious community centers, having an opportunity to create protection, whether it's cameras or new security measures, including the nearby school, elementary girls' school that was affected, that was shot at over the weekend. There is so much more to do, and the core thing we continued to call for is an end to hatred and intolerance in Canada, whether it be anti-Semitism or Islamophobia. We are seeing that events overseas that are devastating and incredibly difficult to watch should not be spilling over into Canadians hating on other Canadians. We are all united in our strength and diversity and our desire for a better country and a better world. We shouldn't be attacking each other, and that is a message that we will continue to put out as we look to bring people together. As in regards to measures we're bringing in, we continue to look at ways to keep Canadians safe and remind people of who we are. As we have the right to protest, always, we do not have the right to endanger or inflict violence on fellow Canadians.
Well, thank you, Prime Minister. We will throw every single resource. We've increased funding for the police, and we've also given thousands of worship if they feel threatened. But folks, let's cut to the chase here. What lunatic goes around shooting up schools? Like that is just unacceptable. Imagine that. Imagine a little kid in a school because they're from the Jewish faith. Someone goes by and starts shooting through the school windows. These guys need to be caught. They need to be punished. They need to be thrown in jail. And I'll tell you, we have zero tolerance for this anywhere in Ontario, and it doesn't matter what race, what creed, what religion you're from. I'd be saying the exact same thing if it was another community as well. But enough is enough. You're bringing your problems from everywhere else in the world. You're bringing it to Ontario, and you're going after other Canadians, as the Prime Minister said. Unacceptable. I got an idea. Before you plan on moving to Canada, don't come to Canada if you're going to start terrorizing neighborhoods like this. Simple as that. You want to come to Canada. You want to be a resident of Ontario. You get along here in Ontario, 200 languages being spoken, and guess what? 99% of the people get along. There's wars going all around the world, but we still get along. So all this other nonsense that we've been seeing over numbers and numbers of months, enough is enough. I'm just had it up to here, and guess what? People outside those communities, they've had it too. They aren't used to this happening here in Ontario. I'm done with this stuff.
Next question.
Yeah. You asked about what concrete things we do. I was at the school on Monday morning. Through my round table on safety, what we've done is we brought the police and transportation and, of course, different communities box, and we've done one as a pilot, and it works well, that help inform places of worships or schools and all places feel a bit insecure, to look at what they have in their surroundings. So whether it's shattered proof glasses, fencing, lighting, or trimming of bushes, or cameras. We assist because we have the knowledge, we know what's the best practices, and both levels, seniors level of government have funding to support it. So those are some of the concrete things we are doing.
You know, you just heard the mayor say shatterproof glass. Really? And not you, really. No, that's the right thing to say. No, I get it. I'm not criticizing. Yeah, that's my point.
I know.
That's my point, Mayor. I love the mayor, by the way. I didn't mean about that. It shouldn't have to be that way.
I know, but thank God they have it. Yes.
Thank you. Next question.
CBC News. The Sergeant at Arms says there's been an 800% increase of harassment against MPs in the last 5 years. One of your own, Pam Damoff, is not running again, citing increased harassment. What do you see as your role in helping to clamp things down, Prime Minister?
Well, first of all, no one should face harassment or threats of violence in their place of work anywhere in this country, in any job they do. This is something that we all must recommit ourselves to as a country and ensure that everyone understands that. At the same time, when MPs or MP staff, is increasingly the case, are targeted, that's not just an attack on an individual or a political party, that's an attack on our democracy. Democracies rely on diverse groups of people figuring out how to find a way forward we can all agree on. It is core to who we are as Canadians, that we listen to each other, we respect each other, and we choose a path forward through rigorous democratic processes at all orders of government. The current atmosphere of polarization, of toxicity, of misinformation, of disinformation, of anger directed at individuals and institutions is not a healthy trend line for democracy in Canada or everywhere around the world where we are increasingly seeing it. We need to get back to having forward, and there will be all sorts of important debates to be had. That's the way our system works. But individual hatreds and acts of violence aimed at people who are serving their communities, who put themselves forward to serve their communities in any order of government, that's unacceptable, and it's something that all Canadians need to be mindful of and aware of as we reflect on what kind of country we are and what kind of country we want to be for the future.
En français?
Okay. Tout le monde dans ce pays doit se sentir protégé dans leur emploi, libre de discrimination, d'harcèlement et de violence. Et en plus, quand on parle de personnes contre notre démocratie, parce que notre démocratie repose sur l'idée qu'on peut tous discuter de façon ensemble sur la façon qu'on va bâtir un avenir meilleur pour tous. Il y a des compromis, il y a des débats, il y a une conversation à avoir où les gens peuvent être grandement en désaccord, mais le respect profond que nous devons avoir pour quiconque se présente en politique, quiconque veut améliorer et contribuer à sa communauté, ne doit pas être oublié. Parce que c'est au cœur de notre démocratie. Donc c'est la responsabilité de nous tous, de chefs, de partis politiques, de députés et de citoyens, de s'assurer qu'il y a du respect les uns pour les autres et que les gens
pour eux, pour leurs familles, pour leurs équipes.
Next question.
It's Global News for Minister Jones, please. The Ontario Health Coalition is holding protests today in Toronto, claiming Ontario is allowing private clinics to charge patients illegal fees and that your government is pushing for privatized health care at the expense of local hospitals and their staff. How do you respond to those allegations?
Well, I think we have an organization that is satisfied with the status quo, and frankly, our government is not. We want to expand access in the province of Ontario. We want to make sure that people who want to have access to a primary care clinician have that opportunity. That is exactly why we have expanded access with an announcement earlier this year of 78 new or expanded primary care health teams. And I have to say, we've already higher and starting to take on new patients. In Kingston, in Simcoe County, in Wellington, we have those teams in place already taking on patients. When we look at the expansion that we were able to do with existing cataract care clinics, we saw the wait times decrease by thousands of people who got access to cataracts surgery. What does that mean? It means they're back with their families. They're back in community, volunteering, driving, going to work. We need to make sure that the creative and innovative ideas that are out there with our clinicians, with our organizations, are empowered to ensure that people have access. And we'll continue to do that because we've seen success on the cataracts, and we'll continue to do it with MRIs, with access to CT. And it's not an either or. You know, we've already, as a government, expanded MRIs in the province of Ontario within hospitals. Status quo is not an option, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Last question.
The Toronto Star, and this is for the Prime Minister and the Premier. The Toronto Public Health announced another 523 opioid-related deaths in Toronto last year, up sharply from before the pandemic. Your governments have taken decriminalization off the table, but obviously more needs to be done. What new measures are you willing to take to address this crisis?
We have recognized as a federal government, indeed as a country, as all orders of government, that more needs to be done to counter the opioid and toxic drug epidemic that communities across this country are facing. Our approach needs to be grounded in compassion, in public health, and safety. And this is something that we are working across orders of government in ways that work in each given jurisdictions. I know there are many investments being made here in Ontario, and we will continue to be there as partners. There is no silver bullet. There is no one way to fix and support these people struggling with addictions and the families dealing with terrible loss from toxic drug overdoses. We will continue to be there, grounded in science and evidence and compassion, in public health, and in partnership across orders of government to deliver what is working and what is supporting people as appropriate in different parts of the country. Premier.
Thank you. I've always been pretty clear on this. I'm a strong believer in detox beds and rehabilitation beds. Since we've taken office, we've created over in this budget, we're investing over $396 million for more beds, and I know we all share the same views. The Mayor, myself, and the Prime Minister, we want people to get well. We'll do whatever it takes. It's not an either or, it's and. Matter of fact, just while we're walking, the Mayor and I were talking about a great facility she has in Toronto getting prepped for rehabilitation and detox. But I'll pass this one over to the Mayor as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. A few days ago, a week ago, I sent a letter to both the Prime Minister and to the Premier with some suggestions on what we could do. And one of them is a 24/7 crisis treatment center where someone that is experienced they want to turn their lives around, or they're homeless but they're addicted, there's a place for them to go. And it's a place where they could find a bit of shelter, they could find mental health support, perhaps through Gerstein Center, and also through public health, and that would be a treatment program. And I've heard very encouraging, we've had very encouraging conversation with both other levels of government, and hopefully we would be able to do this as a pilot project to help some of those folks that wants to turn their life around. We did a survey recently and discovered that a third of the people that wants to get treatment cannot access it immediately, and they are homeless. But some of them are not, but which means that we desperately need there's one site that we have in mind, and hopefully we can make it happen quite soon.
Thank you, Mayor. That concludes today's press conference.
That's great. Thanks. Thank you. Minister.